and sound the horn if anyone comes near. I'll be as fast as I can be, I promise. 1. I don't like this. I was talking about the driving conditions. It was late on Saturday night, and we were surrounded by darkness and thick fog. Visibility was poor, verging on terrible. The road we were travelling on out of Foy was unlit and narrow. But my boyfriend, Ben, misunderstood me. Or maybe he understood me much too well, and bit back a sigh. "It's my job, Abi," he muttered. "I couldn't say no. You know I couldn't." For the record, he could have said no. He could have said it as easily as he'd said no to the two of us finishing our weekend away together. Only I wasn't going to tell him that. It would be crazy for me to tell him that. Because if I did, then we'd finally have the argument we'd been avoiding since he'd taken the call from the partner at his law firm in the middle of the morning, before pretending he hadn't taken the call, before owning up to me half an hour later when we were sitting with our feet dangling in the spa swimming pool in our hotel, and... "You could have said no," I told him. Ben groaned, thumping the back of his skull against his headrest. I kept my gaze fixed ahead. My body clenched up behind the steering wheel, peering blindly through the windscreen at the dank murkiness outside. We were climbing a steep gradient, but I had no way of seeing when we'd reach the top. The engine of my crappy old Volkswagen Polo whined so fiercely I could feel the vibrations through my hands. I'd inherited the car from my grandparents. Grandpa had died 5 years earlier. My granny was afflicted by dementia in a care home, and while it had passed its most recent MOT, just barely, and I'd paid for new tyres the previous winter, I drove it in the constant, nervous awareness that A, if something major went wrong, it would likely be terminal, and B, I could no longer afford to fix even the most minor fault anyway. "Are we really going to do this?" Ben asked me, faking indifference from the dimness of the front passenger seat. I didn't look at him, because I knew what I'd see if I did. The wounded expression. The feigned surprise. Ben was good at acting blameless. He was 29, the same age as me, but he looked younger, with his neat side-parted hair, clean-shaved face, and preppy clothes. Tonight he was wearing a branded grey hoodie over tan chinos and smart trainers. "I'm just telling you what you already know," I told him. Unbelievable. But it wasn't unbelievable. Not anymore. And yes, we'd talked about it. Sometimes calmly, sometimes not. But nothing had changed. I was finally beginning to understand that it wasn't going to change. There would always be last-minute calls from his office, aborted weekends, ruined plans. For a long time I tried to accept it, adapt to it, but I was no longer sure I could. "What do you want me to say, Abi? Do you want me to tell you my career isn't important to me because it is? This is about our future. Going into the office tomorrow is about our future." "Yes." "Getting out your laptop and working all this afternoon. Interrupting our holiday." It was a weekend away, don't exaggerate. You always exaggerate. It wasn't a holiday. It was a quick trip to Cornwall, that's all. And if I want to get ahead, I have to work when they need me to work. The partners pay attention to this stuff. You know they do. There's time pressure on this deal. I have to turn this contract around by Monday. I counted to 10 in my head, squeezing the steering wheel tighter. We must have crested the rise, because the road dipped away into even denser fog.